Hey, Fighter Jet. Thank you for tuning in again. So look, this is part 2 to the mother video where I'm talking about the pull up and pitch competition. I will make sure to place that video here somewhere where you can see. I'll make sure the link is in the description for you to be able to catch that. That way you get the background to why I'm making this video. Hello, Fighter Jets. I am so grateful to have you back in our sacred space. And if you are new here, welcome. I am April Jet, and I serve soul food for your soul growth and jet fuel for your journey. This is my mission. This is my calling. This is my purpose. This is what I'm called to do, and I love it. I love sharing these messages that Source gives me. So make sure to hit subscribe so that way you never miss a plate when your soul food is ready. Any links that I mentioned are always going to be in the description box. And I think that's it. So let's get right into it. So basically, it was a competition that I went to, and I was so prepared to do it and got turned away at the door because, oh, we're done accepting people, you know, was first come, first served, and we've been met our limit. And how deep of a mini depression that I went into for an hour behind that, I talk about that in the mother video. I talk about that, so please take a look at that so you'll have some context. So I shared what it was that I learned in that video, and I just wanted to make a part 2 because I only shared that one thing, and so I wanted to go into the next thing that I picked up from that. Okay, so in that process of disappointment and having to sit with that and accept what is, which is what I did not want to do. The other thing that I learned through that experience was how important it is to be compassionate with yourself. I had so many difficult emotions at being let down at that door, from feeling like I sabotaged myself. Had I just got here earlier, then I could have been the first person in line, right? The opportunity to win money and to have Pharrell Williams, I'm so happy. That one, that was his thing. And so I was going to be able to pitch in front of them and win money on the spot. And I was so confident that what I had to say was going to touch somebody in the audience that I wasn't even worried about making the money. But I didn't even get on stage. And so while I was detached from the outcome of having to win, I was absolutely still attached to being able to get on stage. I was attached to the opportunity that I know I'm going to get my first round. I know I'm going to get that in. And so it was being let down from that, feeling like I did this to myself, feeling like kind of, you know, where am I going to get an opportunity like this to come around again? Like somebody was like, he might do it next year. Shut up. That's not making me feel better, right? So I threw a temper tantrum, and my temper tantrum was me banging on the door. First, it started off with me just crying. And then the crying just got worse and it got harder. And normally when I cry and I go to sleep, the next morning I might wake up with puffy eyes. Never have I cried myself into puffy eyes in the moment. So I cried myself into puffy eyes. So for me, that was a lot. Cried so hard trying to get this out of me, and that wasn't working. So then I got angry at the whole situation, angry at how the girl said it. Like, you could at least said it like you felt bad for me. She was like, you can come in and watch. Girl, you know what I'm saying? I felt like no empathy, no one cared, no one understood what I had to go through to get to this moment. No one understood, and I was angry. And so it was that welling up of that anger coupled with all the other things and obstacles that I had to overcome to get to that moment, and to not be prepared, to not have the opportunity, and to be so attached to having the opportunity, and to know for a fact that, oh yeah, you know, this opportunity presented itself to me. I didn't go out looking for this. This came into my awareness. So this is for me. Oh, I'm about to go. I'm about to shoot my shot, and I'm about to be known starting today. My life about to change today. I just had no reason not to think that was not going to be the case, which is great to be optimistic that way. But because I was so rigidly expecting that I was going to get on that stage, when I didn't, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept it. And it was that resistance to accepting what is, that resistance to knowing, not reaching for my knowing that I am a part of the synchronicity of all things, right? That I'm not forgotten, that it doesn't have to go this way in order for me to get what it is that I've desired. But I was not able to see any of that in that moment. I had fell so deep. That's why I call it a mini depression for an hour, because it was like I hit rock bottom in that moment, and it was so difficult to try to think of all of my tactics and tools that I have helped clients to develop for themselves to help them with difficult emotions. None of that. I couldn't even think of them. Couldn't even. They were so far away. I was so vibrationally far away from my tools that it was hard. And then I threw the crying temper tantrum, and then I had a second where I was like bang 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 and hit the door, because my anger was just so much. I just didn't know what else to do, and I did that. And then I had guilt. I'm like, now I'm embarrassed, and my husband seen me act like a kid. I'm a I'm a facilitator of soul growth. Okay? I help people facilitate their own healing to grow their soul. I'm a leader. And this is how I handle a disappointment. I was disappointed in myself at that. I thought I had come further along in my spiritual journey. I thought that I could handle that. I acted like somebody was dead. But for me, it was like they killed my expectations. They killed my dream. Y'all, it was tough. So I wanted to share how important it is to allow yourself to move through difficult emotions with compassion. Because when you don't have that compassion, you just make it worse. Me being upset with myself for being upset, that's not compassion. Me being upset with myself for not being further along, that's not compassion. None of those things make me feel better. Beating myself up about not being perfect, beating myself up about finding out that there is more for me to learn, shaming myself for not being able to handle this like the book says that you should be able to handle this, didn't do anything but keep me vibrationally in a place that was just going to keep that spiral going, right? It's so important for you to allow yourself to be human. Things are going to happen in life to upset you, disappoint you, make you angry, and it doesn't matter what your status is. It doesn't matter what your role is. You can be the head of a church, you can be the head of a school, you can be a mother, you can be a sister, right? You can be a child, you can be an adult, you can have a whole lot of money, or you could be poor. It doesn't matter. You're still human, and you're still imperfect. It doesn't matter how much book smarts you have. You can have a PhD. You can have a building all across the world, different buildings all across the world, teaching people how to handle their anger. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get angry. That doesn't mean that you're never going to have a moment where it feels like it's out of control. You have to give yourself the room to be imperfect and be compassionate with yourself. Be your own best friend. That's what I teach my children. You have to be your own best friend. If you had a best friend or someone that you cared about who was going through a difficult moment, disappointment, the first thing you're going to say to them is, I thought you was further along in this in your spiritual journey. Oh, I thought you was a leader. Oh, I thought you helped clients on how to manage their difficult emotions. Look at you now. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that to your friend, especially while they're in the midst of the pain, in the midst of trying to pick themselves up, in the midst of being hurt, fresh wound, and you're going to throw salt on it like that? So I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and this is what I teach them on how to be compassionate with yourself, is to treat yourself like your own best friend. Be your own best friend. And so I reminded myself of that in that moment. And I allowed myself to be there. And I told myself, you know what? You're doing real good for how you feel and for how let down that you are. You're doing a good job. The fact that you are even talking to yourself right now, the fact that you are even trying to reach for your tools, the fact that you are even acknowledging the fact that you have made progress on your journey, you're doing what you can to show compassion to yourself. You've made progress just by doing that. And so I began to speak life to myself. I began to talk to myself the way that you talk to someone that you care about, that you talk to someone that you love. I began to lift myself up, and I became my own encourager. And so I just wanted to share that part of what I learned, that, you ain't never too high up. You ain't never learned enough to not be humbled and brought back to the place that you started. Sometimes that's what's necessary. Sometimes you think you got it together and you don't. And it's important to remain humble for you to learn the lessons that you need to learn. See, I'm not too ashamed to be transparent about that, because the truth is, ain't nobody so far along that they're perfect. Period. Ain't nobody so far along that they perfect. So can't nobody judge me about where I stand. And can't nobody tell me that because I'm not perfect, that I'm not qualified to help somebody else. Right? So these are all the things that I would have said to myself back before I started my healing journey in this area. And so even though I've come a long way, I still have to remind myself to be my best friend. I still have to catch myself when my mind starts to go down the old way of thinking, the old path, just because I was triggered. See, it's that self-awareness that allows you to make the corrections that need to be made. And I've learned that. I've grown that. And I want to encourage you to do the work to do the same for yourself. That when things happen that you don't want, when you have a response that is less than your own expectations for yourself, that you need to be compassionate with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Be your own best friend. Think to yourself, what would I say if this was somebody I really cared about? Because you're supposed to care about yourself just like that. Right? You're supposed to care about yourself. And so you got to watch how you talk to yourself and move through difficult situations and difficult emotions with compassion. It doesn't matter if you did it the way you were supposed to. It doesn't matter if you effed up. It doesn't matter. You're still imperfect, and you're going to always be imperfect. So, and there's plenty of people out here outside of you that's ready to beat you up, that's ready to talk ish to you, that's ready to laugh at you, that's ready to point their fingers at you, that's ready to tell you how you're a hypocrite, that's ready to point out your flaws. It's too many people already out here that's ready to do that. Don't do it to yourself. Be your own best friend and build yourself up. And even when you've made a mistake, that's the time to be your best friend. That's the time to lift yourself up. And I did that. So I'm giving myself credit. Good job, April. I recognized it and I made the shift. And something that would have taken a couple of days to get over, I was able to start coming back to myself that same day. Let's just put it like that. That same day. But look, y'all, I love you. The goal is to be so transparent that we can all learn together from my mistakes, right? To be so transparent that you realize that you're not alone in your own ish. Okay, so I'm sacrificing. I'm sacrificing, and it's all good because I love what I do. If you're looking for more content like this that is full of inspiration and lessons, but also transparency and realness, then this is the stop. This is the stop. Go ahead and hit subscribe right now. This is where you want to be. I know that I'm not by myself, and I'm looking to curate a community of people who resonate with me in this way, right? Who are visionaries and dream keepers and light workers, who have goals and dreams. And it doesn't have to be anything outside that other people decide is a big goal and a big dream. No, it's whatever it is that you decide you want to do. When you've decided that this is who I am and this is what I want in my life, and I'm not giving up, I'm going to keep going till I get there. It's a certain set of obstacles that you're going to come up against. And I want to cover those obstacles here. I want to talk about the growth that has to happen in a soul when they've decided that where they are is not where they want to stay, and that where they want to go is a journey. And so as you're on that journey, I want you to know that you are not alone, and it doesn't matter how unique you are or how unique what it is that you want is. The journey to that thing is the same. The lessons that need to be learned are the same kind of lessons. And so you're not alone, and I would love for you to join here with me so you can feel that and we can start having conversations about that. So if there's anything that you want to ask me, any videos that you would like to be made about your spiritual journey, about managing difficult emotions, about accepting the things that is, about manifesting the things in your life that you want, how am I going to be happy when things are effed up all around me? These are the types of videos that I plan to make. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. So I thank you for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for your time. Hope this video finds you in peace and at happiness and in love, because you are loved and it is forever flowing to you. And my goal is to help you release whatever is holding you back from experiencing the love, peace, prosperity, power, and fulfillment that belongs to you. So I'll talk to you soon.